Hello and welcome. It's a Coronation weekend special. God save the King. Right, okay. That's the business part of it over and done with. Let's get the proper business. So this is an old thumper. I must warn you folk that are not used to these sessions that adult themes and my opinions are in there. I have absolutely no intention to offend anybody at all in the slightest. None of my opinions are particularly wide of the centre. So if you find yourself offended, it's definitely a you problem, I'm afraid. Take a long, hard look in the mirror. If you're offended by the Union flag, go fuck yourself. Now, that out of the way, I love the Union flag. Long live Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Now, Old Thumper, Ringwood Brewery, for now. It is... Oh dear, wrong glasses again. We take two things seriously here at the Ringwood Fenard Brewery. Our ales and our leisure time, along with creating quality craft ales, we are relaxation enthusiasts. You mean they're retired? Our famed Old Thumper craft ale has a Moorish maltiness and a satisfying full flavour. This is really crap, Richard. Best enjoyed relaxing with friends and a cow pie. Well, cheers folks, to my friends and my followers and you guys that just happen to be watching this thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Right, cheers. Oh, yes, malty. It is one of my favourites. I do like this. For an ale, I like it. Now, I use my special beer opener here. You can see that. It's a beer bottle opener, although anything can open a beer bottle, a fridge magnet, and also a beer mat. There you go. Right, it's been a while since I've done one of these things, but something happened this morning and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do one of these things. And what happened this morning kind of prompted me again that we're living in a society fueled by misinformation. There is indeed now a ministry of misinformation that pushes this bollocks out, which if you shout loudly enough, people start to believe it. And I'm not going to go about any particular one, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the one that popped up this morning was actually shared by my mate Russ Crichton. Cheers. Cheers, Crichton. Good man. So Russ forwarded this on to me, and it's actually an article that came out of the Triumph Sports 6 Club magazine. He's a TSSC. He's a member of the TSSC. Having lost all faith in the Stag Owners Club, I won't go there. Anyway, he's a member of this particular club, but this article, he just sent me a copy of it. And it is the most bizarre thing I think I've ever read in my entire life. Now, the article's titled, What Were the Problems with the Triumph Stag? And as you know, I'm a bit of a... I do like Triumph Stags. A lot of people like Triumph Stags, and there's a lot of nonsense in the world about Triumph Stags. And this particular article trumps the fucking lot, believe me. So whatever you thought about Triumph Stags and whatever you heard down the pub, pardon me, first burp, whatever you heard down the pub about the Triumph Stag pales into insignificance at some of the glorifying misinformation that is in this article. Now, in fairness to Ben Carney, who wrote the article, he does actually say that it was a cock-up with an AI chatbot. And that the, I can't remember which chatbot it was now, I'll just put it in the description down here. But he's come back to Russ Crichton and said, his real name's not Crichton, by the way, that was just that's his, like I'm Richard the Stag, he's Crichton. Oh, we just lost a subscriber. Right, okay, never mind. Yeah, so he's come back and said this is a bit of a cock-up and it shouldn't really have gone to print, blah-de-blah-de-blah. I suspect what's happened is a million people have jumped on his case and said, you buffoon, what have you printed? Anyway, so it starts quite innocently. I'm not going to read the whole fucking thing. I might do. See how the beer's going. I might move on to a gin. So the article starts, "Hello, I've recently been conversing via email to a non-member who was very interested in buying a Stag. He interrogated me as he wants to know what the original problems were with the car manifested. I pointed him in the direct of a local Stag specialist who provided him with the following written answers. I found these quite revealing. What do you think? Is this a helpful answer to a potential Stag owner?" Okay, so it starts off. The Triumph Stag is a popular sports car. Well, it's not. It's actually a GT. Produced by the British manufacturer Triumph from 1970 to 1978. While the car has a stylish design and was well received by the public, it does have some well-known issues. Oh, here we go. That owners and enthusiasts have identified over the years. Here are some of the more common problems with the Triumph Stag. Here we go. Right, we're in a bar. This is the Richard the Stag Arms. Okay, engine overheating. Right. One of the biggest issues with the Stag was its tendency to overheat. No, they don't tend to overheat. If they're not maintained, they overheat. They can. This was often caused by the design of the engine, which had a reputation for being unreliable. Number 2, timing chain tensioner failure. Really? The Stag's timing chain tensioner was prone to failure, which could lead to engine damage. No shit. Or failure if not addressed promptly. Number 3, electrical problems. The Stag's electrical system was known to be for being problematic, with issues ranging from failing starter motors to unreliable charging systems. And then it refers you to picture number 1, which is a picture of a white 12-volt supply, ignition controlled unfused, which goes through 3 different connectors from, I don't know really, it's showing then the fuel pump in the boot and a warning lamp on the dash. Fuck knows. Anyway, rust. It's our old favourite here. The Stag was notorious for rust problems, particularly in the chassis and bodywork. This was due in part to the car's construction, which used a combination of steel and aluminium panels. I'll be honest, it's a fucking first for me. It really is. If anyone could point me to the aluminium panels in a Stag's construction. Okay. Then we've got transmission problems. The Stag's automatic transmission was known to be unreliable. What, the Borg-Warner 35, which became the Borg-Warner 65 later in production? Unreliable? They're about the most reliable automatic gearboxes known to mankind, with issues ranging from slipping gears to complete failure. Fair enough. Overall, while the Triumph Stag was a stylish and popular sports car, it had a number of well-known issues that potential buyers should be aware of. No shit, Sherlock. If you're considering purchasing a Stag, be sure to thoroughly inspect the car and have it checked by a qualified mechanic before making a purchase. So, as actually pointed out here, that the answers have been provided by this Stag specialist, which is now seen as an AI bot, a chatbot. Well, I say it's a Stag specialist then. It's not. Right, okay. So, design of the engine. And there's helpfully a picture of an engine. Right, let me go and find the next page, which is that one there, I think. So, it says that Stag was fitted with a 3-litre V8 engine that was designed with a narrow angle cylinder block. It's not that narrow. No, it's just not like, you know, it's not flat. And it's not like a wide angle, like American V8s. It's a fairly typical angle for a V configuration engine. It's certainly not anything like the more modern V4 engines which we've seen, which have literally just been in a single block. No. I wouldn't call it a narrow angle cylinder block. I think it's about the same angle as a Rover V8. They're unreliable as well because of the narrow angle cylinder block. The designer made it difficult for the engine to dissipate heat properly, which led to overheating. Picture number 2, referring to the picture of the engine. Beer's better than his article. Cooling system, here we go. The Stag's cooling system was not designed to handle the heat generated by the engine. Incorrect. It was. It was entirely designed to handle the heat generated by the engine. And this is proven time and time and time again. However, if components start to fail or the system is not maintained correctly, then it will fail, like any system, anyway. Which meant that engines would often run hotter than it should. The car's radiator was also prone to clogging. Sounds like poor maintenance to me, which reduced the effectiveness at dissipating heat. No shit, Sherlock. Now, this is a good one, this one. It gets better, this, by the way. Stag's thermostat. The Stag thermostat was located in an area that was not well ventilated. So front of the engine, front of the engine, right by the engine-driven fan, was not well ventilated, which made it difficult for it to regulate the engine's temperature properly. This could lead to the engine running too hot or, paradoxically, too cold. I put the paradoxically in. Oh shit, right. Fan and water pump failures. Okay. The Stag's cooling system relied on a combination of fan and water pump to circulate coolant through the engine. I don't think the fan circulates the coolant through the engine. Anyway, if either of these components failed, the engine would quickly overheat. I'm telling you now that my fan failed, and it took some serious torture for the engine to overheat. So no, I think if your fan fails and your system's maintained, it's not going to immediately burst into flames. To address these overheating issues, some Stag owners have made modifications to the engine, cooling system and other components to improve the car's cooling performance. Fair enough. These modifications can include upgrading the radiator. Yep. Done it myself, although there is a fine line in between too thick and the cooling. And putting a larger water pump in. Or what they've actually shown here is the electric, the Davis Craig electric water pump. Fair enough. Good point. The biggest problem I should add here with the Stag cooling system is that the water pump is quite high, and because of the low, sleek bonnet, the top of the radiator isn't much above the top of the water pump. So if you're not into maintaining your vehicles or looking after them on a daily and journey type basis, then the coolant level could drop, it's going to run dry and it'll overheat. Okay, timing chain on the Stag was another well-known issue for several reasons. So, timing chains on the Stag, 104 and 106 links, and they were used on, I can't remember now, my brain's going blank, it's this fucking old thumper here. They weren't reliable there. The reason they were unreliable on the Stag is for reasons other than this, and typically it was because I think that timing chains wore out, because there are people out there that documented 100,000 miles on standard chains. The service schedule stated they'd be changed every 20 to 30,000 miles, but normally the chains will start to rattle quite loudly before they fail. You get a fair bit of notice that they're about to fail, so you change them, and it's not the end of the world. You change them. It's a service, it's like changing a cam belt. So to say it's well known, I don't know. Maybe people didn't maintain them. Okay, the Stag's timing chain was designed. Let me go find the next page. Oh, this gets funny now. Designed with a single row of teeth. No, it's two single rows of teeth actually. There's two gears, two chains, one for left and one for right, which made it more prone to stretching and breaking than other timing chains. Fair enough. This was a design flaw that was not corrected during the car's production run. Yes, it was. They put service schedule in there to change chains, like you would change a cam belt. Poor lubrication. Stag's timing chain was located at the rear of the engine. Sorry, I must have read that wrong. The Stag's timing chain is located at the rear of the engine. No, fuck it isn't. Which made it difficult to lubricate properly. Well, why would that have any difference anyway? Even if it wasn't, it isn't. This could cause the chain to wear more quickly and become more prone to failure. Horseshit. None of that is true. Tension of failure. Again, I never heard of one failing. They wear. They very rarely fail. Misinformation. Ministry of. The Stag timing chain tensioner was also prone to failure. Was it? This could cause the chain to become loose and jump a tooth on the sprocket. No. The chain could become loose because it stretches and then it rattles. Then you hear it rattling and you think, fuck me, what's that rattling noise? And then your dealer tells you, ha, you need to change the chains. And if you get to the point where you've jumped a tooth, then more fool you. This could lead to engine damage or failure if not addressed promptly. Correct. Maintenance issues. Number 4. The timing chain on the Stag needs to be regularly inspected. Wow. I think basically you fit it and then 20,000 miles later you think about changing it or checking it. So regularly, probably not. And replaced 20 to 30,000 miles. I mean, how many Stags do more than 3,000 miles a year? So we're talking like, you know, in the region of changing the chains every decade. Most people don't own them that long. But many owners neglected this maintenance due to the difficulty of accessing the chain at the rear of the... Is this bollocks again? I can only think that Saab in the 99, when they used the Triumph, variation of the Triumph 4-cylinder engine, I think that they were installed back to front. So cylinder number 1 was near the bulkhead. Not sure. Correct me down below on it, but Stag timing chains are at the front of the engine. They couldn't be more fucking accessible if they tried. Picture number 5. What are we looking at? Picture number 5. Picture number 5? No, it's a picture of the engine again. To address these issues, some Stag owners have modified the engine to use double row timing chain and improved lubrication systems. Well, aside from the fact you'd have to completely re-engineer the cylinder heads and the front timing cover, and I've never heard of double row timing chains on any production car. Interesting. Improved lubrication systems. Okay. Don't know. Others have opted to replace the timing chain more frequently, 20 to 30,000 miles, or when it starts rattling, or use aftermarket tensioners to improve reliability. Well, the factory original tensioners are more reliable than the reproduction ones. So, fuck knows what they're going about there. Regular maintenance and inspection of the timing chains are also essential to preventing problems with this component. Yeah. What are the main rust issues on the Triumph Stag? Triumph Stag was prone to rusting due to a combination of factors, including its construction, materials, and design. Here are some of the, he's photographed the corner of the page here, of the main rust issues associated with the Stag. Chassis rust. Ain't got a chassis. That's why the chassis rusted away, because it ain't got one. It's a monocoque, you tit. UAI tit. That's nice, then. The Stag chassis was constructed using a combination of steel and aluminium. There's that fucking steel and aluminium shit again. No, it isn't. It's all steel. Well, steel and rust. Which made it prone to rusting at the points where the two metals met. No, it didn't. This was particularly problematic in areas where the chassis was exposed to moisture, such as around the suspension mounting points and floor pan. Have you looked at the arse end on an MX-5? Mark II, just over a decade old. They were rotting out furiously then. Generally, I mean, Stags, they either rot or they don't. And the ones that don't are the ones that are still here. So yeah, I mean, go over your Stag and check it for rust, but I don't think you need to be chicken licking the skies falling in. Body rust. The Stag's bodywork was also prone to rusting, particularly in areas where moisture could collect, such as around the wheel arches and the door bottoms. You mean like every other fucking car ever built? The car's roof was also susceptible to rust. It's cloth. Due to its construction from a single sheet of steel. Oh, you're going to have to show me, first of all. I'm guessing they're talking about the hardtop. But please, someone, tell me a car that's got a double skin roof panel. Rust on the brightwork. I think this bit was fairly normal, actually. So the Stag's brightwork included components such as bumpers, door handles, was made from chrome-plated steel. Not entirely true, actually. The bumpers are chrome-plated steel. The door handles and a wedge of other equipment around the car was actually Mazak, monkey metal, chrome-plated. And there's a lot of stainless on the car as well. Over time, the chrome could wear away, exposing the underlaying steel to moisture and causing it to rust. Actually, a load of bollocks. I mean, you'd have to work hard to polish chrome away. To prevent rust, Stag owners should take steps to keep their car's chassis and bodywork clean and dry, particularly areas, go find the next page, this is brilliant, isn't it? This is fucking outstanding, areas where moisture can accumulate. It doesn't actually tell you where the moisture might accumulate, it just tells you the moisture might accumulate. Regular inspections of the car's undercarriage and bodywork, see, that's better than chassis, can also help identify and address rust issues before they can become too severe. Some Stag owners, this is great. I had to pre-read that then. I glanced at it and then I thought, no, I can't read that right. Some Stag owners have opted to replace the rust-prone components, such as the chassis or body panels, with aftermarket or refurbished parts to improve the car's overall durability. What the fuck are you talking about? I think they're talking about a TR6. Oh, dear me. Oh, it's nice. What were the transmission problems for the Triumph Stag? Well, it didn't have any problems with the transmission, that is. One of the most reliable things on the Stag was the transmission, largely because it was beefed up parts that were otherwise used in, let's say, the big saloon, the Triumph 2000, 2500 saloons, the TR5, TR6. A lot of components were used in those cars. So because of that, the Stag really didn't have transmission problems. So what are they going to say about? What's the AI bot got to say about Stag transmission problems? Here are the main issues. Overall failure. The Stag was equipped with an optional overdrive unit, correct? Initially it was the Laycock, was it Laycock? It was Laycock, wasn't it? A-type, and then it became the J-type. That could be engaged to provide better fuel economy at higher speeds. Highway speeds. Oh, right, okay, so better economy at highway speeds, right. We've got a septic issue here, haven't we? That was rude, Richard. That was rude. I apologise to any septics watching. However, the overdrive unit was prone to failure. It fucking wasn't, due to its issues with its solenoid and electrical components. Well, there's only one electrical fucking component on it, and that's the solenoid. Right, gearbox wear. Really? The Stag's main gearbox, bear in mind, upgraded from TR6, TR5, big saloon, was prone to wear. Doesn't explain how, particularly in the synchromesh mechanism. Oh, right, synchromesh mechanism, which could cause difficulty with changing between gears, between second and third gear. So what they've basically said is that when a Stag's gearbox is shagged out, they can be difficult to engage second and third gear because the synchromesh is fucked. Well, show me a car that doesn't. So far I've learnt nothing. I don't know if you have. Clutch problems. Really? I know there are clutch problems with the Stag, by the way. I'll explain in a second. The Stag's clutch was known to be heavy and difficult to operate. Not if it's right. Particularly in heavy traffic. The clutch hydraulics could also fail. Well, a fucking asteroid could hit Norwich, for fuck's sake, if we're going on about this, causing the clutch to become inoperable. I'll tell you what the problem with the clutch is, that when the clutch is changed, and because the cars are not used as frequently as they should be, there gets a build-up of hardened crud in the splines that the clutch plate slides up and down. So what then happens is the clutch plate can hang up on the splines on the input shaft of the gearbox. That's the problem with the clutch. The rest of it, fucking, God knows what they're talking about. Differential issues. Right, okay. We might have to open another beer in a minute. We're almost at the end of this article. This is fucking hilarious. Misinformation extraordinaire. Right, differential issues. Please tell me that Stag's differential was prone to failure. It wasn't. Particularly in cars that were driven aggressively or used for towing. Oh, I see. Right, so something that's abused wears out faster than something that isn't abused. Fair enough. The differential's crown wheel and pinion gears could wear or break, causing significant damage to the transmission. Oh, I'm going to open the other beer. I'm just going to use my dick opener. This one is Wainwright Golden Beer. Refreshingly rewarding, crafted golden beer, 4.1% alcoholic volume. Which brewery is it? Wainwright is from... Wrong fucking glasses. Wainwright Golden Beer, not Golden Shower. No. We're not into that. That's fucking disgusting. Right. A superb, thirst-quenching, refreshing beer packed full of flavour, lightly hopped with subtle sweet notes and a delicate citrus aroma. I'm impressed already. Inspired by the author, Alfred Wainwright, famous for his Lakeland Fell Guide books. I don't know why I'm doing that accent. For every summit Wainwright conquered through his passion and commitment, each one delivered the ultimate reward. He got a beer. Refreshingly rewarding for those who think they've earned it. Well, I fucking earned it. After reading this bollocks, I've earned this. Right. Cheers. See if this is not picking up any citrus. I am now. That's nice. I've not had that one in a while. That's quite pleasant now. Right, okay. Oh, God help us. Where were we? Oh, dear. Right, okay, so so to address these issues, some Stag owners have modified their cars to use aftermarket or refurbished transmissions or components. Well, yeah, people are modifying cars all the time. There was a point where there was a BMW, I couldn't tell you which E it was, probably 36, maybe 30, I don't know, E30. Rings a bell, differential mounting points and so forth. But to be honest, out of the box, bog standard, well-serviced Stag is magic carpet rise. And if you want a car that goes around corners really quick and hugs the road, then you can modify your Stag to do that, or you could buy something that's designed to do it. But to slag off the car for doing something it wasn't designed to do, I don't know. Anyway, others have opted to upgrade the car's clutch hydraulics or replace the differential with a stronger unit, the B&W unit, I guess. Regular maintenance and inspection of the transmission can also help, you mean servicing, can also help identify and address issues before they become more severe. Yeah, they mean servicing. They do. I'm convinced of it. These glasses are filthy, I can't see anything. Differential issues on the Triumph Stag in red as well, look. The Triumph Stag was known to have I'm going to fucking repeat all this shit now. Known to have a number of issues with its differential and the components that transfers its power from the engine to the wheels. Here are some of the main issues. Picture 9. What is picture 9? Where is picture 9? Let me go and find picture 9. Nope. Oh, it's a picture of the underside of the car. Red one. Nice car. Looks alright, actually. Well cared for. Very nice. Like that. Right, okay. So picture 9. Okay, crown, wheel and pinion wear. The Stag's differential was prone to wear in the crown, wheel and pinion gears. This could cause a whining or grinding noise from the rear of the car. Tell you what causes the whining noise is when the preload isn't set up properly. So if you put the wrong oil into your Stag diff, which I think specifies a GL4, maximum GL4 EP80 or EP90, I can't remember now, because I deal with a lot with Range Rovers as well. So I'd look it up. If you're using a GL5, for instance, it can damage the bronze, not bushes, shims inside the differential, and then of course then all of a sudden you end up with backlash and play in the gear, and then the interface between the crown wheel and the pinion, that's going to whine. It's not typical of a Stag, it's typical of fuckhousery. Anyway, particularly during acceleration or deceleration. Okay, fair enough. Typically what cars are designed to do. Sorry, I'm wearing my bib and brace from work still, covered in paint and shit. Literally rushed home to have a beer and talk to you good folk about this. Differential bearings, which are the fucking enlarged bastards that are bigger than they are in a TR6 diff. The Stag's differential was also prone to failure of the differential bearings. No, I tell you what, the differential bearing that fails on the Stag is the one that's actually on the subframe, and it's called the differential nose bearing. Okay, when the differential nose bearing fails, and it's a sealed bearing, it only fails when the differential front oil seal has failed and washes oil through the differential nose bearing, and then yes, they will cause problems. It's not a differential. Again, it's poor servicing, poor maintenance, poor servicing. Number 3, limited slip differential failure. I must have got that wrong. Let me just read it again. Limited slip differential failure. They didn't have limited slip diffs. The Stag's limited slip differential, which was an optional feature. No, it fucking wasn't. On some models, it wasn't. There was only one model. Was also prone to failure. Was it? This could cause the differential to become locked and make the car difficult to manoeuvre or control. Utter horseshit. Differential leaks. Oh, come on, we're talking British cars here. They all fucking leak. Where are we? The Stag's differential was known to develop leaks over time, particularly around the seals and gaskets. Oh my God, stop the front page. This could lead to a loss of lubrication and increased wear and failure of the differential components. You could write this article about any car on the road. To address these issues, some Stag owners have opted to replace the differential with a stronger aftermarket unit or upgrade the car's differential with reinforced components. Now, the reinforced component they're talking about there is actually the nose piece of the Triumph Stag that the subframe arm is attached to, and it bolts onto the front of the diff. They can fracture, so you reinforce those, but 5 minutes with a welder does that. So I'll take that. Regular maintenance and oh, you mean servicing of the differential can also help identify these issues and address them before they become more severe. You mean servicing. This includes checking the differential fluid level. You mean servicing. Changing the fluid as recommended by the manufacturer. You mean servicing. Well, a very comprehensive answer to a question asked. A very fucking ridiculous answer to a question asked. The most fucking bizarre piece of misinformation I have ever read in a publication, especially from a classic car club. TSSC, you should be fucking ashamed of publishing this shit. Honestly, it's just horrendous. So one final note, the above descriptions are the opinion of one person and not intended as a guide to the problems and issues of the Triumph Stag, just an overview as to how they see the problems. Well, I'm sorry, guys, you fucking publish this bollocks. It sits on your shoulders. Please refer to the Triumph Repair Operations Manual for the method prescribed by Triumph for undertaking any work, or personally consult a Triumph specialist. Maybe not the one who wrote this fucking article. Honestly. Could it get any worse? I mean, it's a fucking car crash of an article. Oh, it did make me laugh. It made me laugh a lot. Oh, I think all I can say is, Ben, Now, what did Russ? So Russ messaged me back actually. So let me just go and have a quick look in here now. So Russ came back to me and said, right, okay. Oh dear. Right, I emailed. This is what Russ has come back with. So I emailed the author of that load of old bollocks. According to him, it was a ChatGPT experiment that went catastrophically wrong. The next question was, why the hell did you put that forward for print without at least basic proofread? It would seem ChatGPT can get it as wrong as the famous pub experts. Red faces all round, I feel. I think the big problem there is if someone submitted a question to ChatGPT, which is one of these AI bot kind of things, these chatbot things, and then without even bothering to proofread it, lobbed it into a club magazine, which is, I don't know what the subscription is for the Triumph Stag Club. I think it's TSSC. I think it's bigger than the Stag Owners Club. So a few thousand people would have read that and be thinking, oh, Triumph Stag, load of bollocks, aren't they? Fucking 2 Dolomite engines welded together. What a load of cag. Right, so now, Russ, then, it just gets even more bizarre. So, so Russ opened a chat account with ChatGPT and asked him, basically, I know these things evolve, so it could have evolved since the article was first asked for. So Russ went into ChatGPT and asked it about Triumph Stag, and it came back with, and I quote, "The Triumph Stag was a British sports car produced between 1970 and 1978. Despite its sleek design and powerful V8 engine, the car had several problems, some of which are listed below. Overheating, true, because of lack of maintenance, because the schedule wasn't... I'm going to read it. Stag engine was prone to overheating, which caused numerous engine failures, true. This was primarily due to the cooling system's design, which was not adequate to dissipate the heat generated by the powerful V8 engine. It was marginal, and when it wasn't serviced properly, that's when it happened. Timing chain tensioner. The Stag's timing chain tensioner was known weakness. It is not, and if not maintained or replaced regularly, could cause the timing chain to fail. It's the other way around, actually, leading to catastrophic engine damage. Electrical system. Stag's electrical system was known to be problematic, with issues ranging from blown fuses, no fucking way, British car that subscribes to the factory of Lucas, get home before rain or dark, suffers from blown fuses. Oh my God. The main cause of these problems was poor wiring and inadequate grounding. It's funny how it doesn't happen anymore. Rust. The Stag's bodywork was prone to rusting, particularly in the sills and floor pans, like any other car. And this was primarily due to poor rust-proofing protection during production and the lack of proper maintenance by owners. Manufacturers want to sell you new cars. They don't want your 10-year-old car on the road. They want it in the scrapyard. They want you to buy a new one. Gearbox. The Stag's manual gearbox is not known for its reliability and could be difficult to ship, particularly when the car was cold. Now, a lot of these original issues, I think they've lifted out of... I've not finished that bit, by the way. Let me finish it. Poor fuel economy. The Stag's V8 engine was not particularly fuel efficient. Mine does 30 to the gallon. And the car could be expensive to run. Deeper pockets, particularly during periods of high fuel prices, like we've got now. Overall, while the Triumph Stag was a stylish and powerful car, its reliability issues and its high maintenance costs have made it a challenging car to own and maintain over the years. Fair cop, to be honest. The summary on that is nowhere near the car crash that the TSSC have published to their membership. But honestly, why the fuck wouldn't you proofread it? Yeah, like I say, if you shout something loudly enough, or it's in print, then it's got to be true. Absolutely. Just utter bollocks. Never mind. Russ has actually followed on from that. Not unfair or lacking particularly accurate, or lacking particular accuracy. Now, so when it comes to... So when the Stag was launched, it was rushed into production. We know, you know, I know, everyone knows the Stag was rushed into production. There was no brand... People say that Triumph deliberately sabotaged the attempts to put the Rover V8 into the Stag. Wrong! Rover could not make the V8s that they needed for their existing supply for the Rover saloons, let alone the new Range Rover, which came out the same month as the Stag, let alone then provide the 20-something thousand units a year that the Stag was forecast to sell. So no, Rover V8 was never even a fucking option. They might have thought about it, but it was quickly knocked off the table, and not because of brand pride. The service manuals weren't actually submitted, so there's a wedge of issue with the repair operations manual, the ROM, and again that's the Ministry of Misinformation in itself. So you've got to be a little bit kind of savvy that when you are replacing the inlet manifold gaskets, it tells you to loosen one of the cylinder heads before you put the inlet manifold gasket back in again. Yeah, it's a fucking great idea. Having the water pump underneath the inlet manifold was never a great idea. But it was all part of this modular Triumph idea. And I just think what happened was when they were designing the 4 and the V8 engines, they more or less ran out of development money. But I challenge anyone now to listen to a Stag V8 on song, going properly, and it's not going to leave all its bits on the road. No, 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 no. Not to have the little hairs on the back of their neck tingling. And a Rover V8, while it's nice and it's durable and I love them and I can work on them and I fix them all the time, it doesn't do that. It's not as special as a Triumph V8. So I think, in a nutshell, from me, the Triumph V8 is worth persevering with. It's worth fixing it and getting it running properly, so that you can run it around to the 6k RPM in a particular gear. And it's unbelievable. It's great. It's why I can never sell my bloody car. Now, when it comes to the gearbox being difficult to change when they're cold, that's because they specified an EP oil. However, you can use a quality 2050 in a Stag gearbox. And it does away with that problem. I've been running my car for about 20 years now on a quality 2050 oil. I don't change it that frequently. I have a little look at the oil every now and then. If it's not black, I don't bother changing. Automatic gearboxes, the BW35 did have a small issue, but none of it was catastrophic. They could all be fixed. So all I can see that TSSC have done there is perpetuate this barroom bollocks, as I like to call it. Yeah, but my mate's next door neighbour's brother-in-law knows a chap whose cleaner's father met a bloke down the pub who told him they all overheat. Trouble is, if you don't know, then you refer to an article like that in a Triumph Club magazine, and it could put you off buying the damn thing. If I didn't know anything about it, it'd put my mind off buying it. Or I'd be like, instantly, I'll buy one and put a Rover V8 in it. And spend a fortune on upgrading the suspension and the differential and the brakes and so forth. Right, okay, that was that. I think I've probably ranted enough about that nonsense. All I can really add to it is, God save the King, Your Majesty. Coronation weekend and all that, you see.